Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Advanced Kayak Angler. Appreciate you listening. Excuse me, I'm got allergies or kicking my butt, so if you hear me sniffling or anything else, I'll go ahead and say I apologize from the start. Been getting a lot of great feedback from the few shows. Been doing the show for a while now, but every week it seems like it's gained momentum and people are more and more interested. So I really appreciate it. And again, all the people that followed me over from Paddle and Fin. Really appreciate that. But if you would leave a Google review, that helps me and Armando under Bass Kayak and Beers. And yeah, I'd appreciate it. Really, thank you for listening. Appreciate it. Uh, I went out on the water this weekend. I have a monthly. It's Iron City and Bucks Island. Monthly. I usually don't do monthlies, but every year Iron City does one. Iron City Kayak Anglers, the club I'm a committee member on. We do a monthly every month in April because we have kayaking for a cure. Gary Cornelius runs that. If you're in Alabama, definitely sign up for that. I think it's the 28th at the end of the month. But yeah, so we don't want to interfere with his tournament because it's charity. So we do a month long every year. So this year I'm really trying to go after it. And then right now I got 107.5. So it's been good so far. Right now I'm leading it, but there's a couple other people I have like 105, 106. So it's definitely going to take like one or two more, probably 110 is what it's going to take. Fishing's been phenomenal lately. But so how this show came about is I bought two high-end reels not too long ago. I'm almost ashamed to say it, but the two of the new Daiwa Zillions, I just trying to get better at jerk baiting. I really want a high-end reel for that. And whenever I bought it, it had a clicker. Except for spinning reels, I haven't used a clicker. And man, maybe whenever I was a kid, it's been so long. And I thought, I actually really like this. I like the sound of it whenever my drag goes out. So I know it's just another audible thing to let you know how strong or loose your drag is. So I liked it. So whenever I saw a Facebook post, I said for Dominator Reel Tuning, and I said, I want to make sure I said that right. I was like, well, I'm gonna reach out, see if I've got these other reels that don't have them. I've got a bunch of other ones, bait casters. I use Daiwa. I've got a bunch of Tatulas that don't. So let me see if this is possible, and maybe you can throw some better bearings in there. I've never done anything like that. I've sent my reels out to have them cleaned, but I've never sent them out to be tuned or enhanced. So here we go. So we bringing on Sam Kearns, who owns and operates Dominator Reel Tuning. Man, I appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. Well, I seen your Facebook. You are a hammer. So how do you get into fishing?
Actually, fishing was something that really wasn't in my family. I grew up around a bunch of coon hunters and dog showers, and I kind of gotten in the realm.
My grandpa too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I got into the realm of just some buddies were fishing around high school time era, and just kind of jumped in and started fishing after school and here and there, and then evolved into tournament fishing and down the road to this.
And you had a big bag this weekend, right?
Yeah, I've had roughly anywhere from 23 to 25 pounds off of a glide bait this weekend. So pretty good weekend.
And I'm going to ask you about glide baits at the end. But okay, so you own Dominator Reel Tuning. How did you get into that? Like how does this get started? Because to me, I don't have that engineering mindset. That's if I take a reel apart, it's never going back together.
Right.
So how do you get into this?
So long story short, I've been in and out of the fishing industry since I was in college. I was actually started off sponsoring the UK fishing team around like 2009. I was pouring plastics, and then I got wrapped up in just in and out of groups doing the pro staff thing, and my tournament partner started a really big jig company around Central Kentucky. It was called Slickhead Tackle, and a couple of years ago, he was just like, "Dude, I got to have back surgery. I don't know if I can do this anymore." We were in the basement. And we were on a boys' trip one weekend. And we started working on reels, and I was like, "I'm gonna start working on reels. Like, if I can't be in the jig business anymore, I'm gonna start working on reels." So I kind of just sought it out, more or less delivering a product or a service that was affordable for most people. That was kind of my main goal with it.
And you're in Kentucky.
Yep, I'm in Central Kentucky.
just so people know. So if they're in any, I mean, they can send them to you from anywhere, but if they're in your area, even better.
Yeah, I got a. So I'm in Lancaster, so I'm like about 35, 40 minutes outside of Lexington, or on the other side, about 45 minutes to Lake Cumberland. I got a PO box, so either way, if you want to ship me something, it's really safe compared to just like sitting on the front porch or in the front of a business, which is kind of what we shot for with that. So most of the time, I just send people a PO address and they ship it over there, and I get a notification once there, I go pick it up. So it's pretty safe for the most part. Knock
So if
on
somebody sends you like
wood.
something high end, you don't have to worry about it being
Not
snap.
like I said, knock on wood so far,
Yeah.
nothing, but it was the only way to really kind of sleep easy about it. So like I work full time for PepsiCo as a service tech. I fix fountain machines and stuff. So I'm not here all the time.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the PO box thing came in. I just didn't feel comfortable. Once we started getting bigger, I was like, man, I cannot just leave all this stuff sitting out. So
I had placed an order with Daiwa before Christmas, and they sent like 5 reels to my house, and
yep,
they went to somebody else's house. Never got them. Took me like a couple of months to get it figured out. Yeah, doing stuff like that sucks.
it's it just seems like when you're playing around with that much money, I try to take as much hit and miss out of it as I can, because I've noticed, especially oddly enough, about ballpark number, about 70 to 80% of my business is out of state. I
Hmm.
don't really do a ton of business in state. I mean, I do a little bit, but it's not nothing like out of state. I do a lot
There's a
of
lot of states. Yeah,
so like up towards New York, like the postal service is awful. Like
yeah.
those guys have like I guess a hard time keeping up with packages up that way, or even in like the Memphis area of Tennessee. If it goes through there, we always have issues, but it's just too hard to not just get a PO box on my end and be safe.
That's right. Well, so what all services do you offer? Let's start there, and then we'll kind of talk about each one, I guess, and like all the different parts of it. Because I really, like I said at the start, I don't know a lot about this, so I'm definitely curious.
So traditionally, we started off just doing reel cleanings. Um, that's just basically I strip the whole reel down. It goes through ultrasonic cleaners, frames and everything get hand brushed. It gets blown off with air. They get wiped down. They get greased with. I use either like cow's grease. I use Lucas oil.
Cow's grease.
Cow's Universal Drag Grease. It's actually a
Oh,
pretty big brand.
oh, okay.
Actually, they make a couple different, I guess, applications. They got a cold weather and a warm weather for different climates, and just so they don't freeze up.
That the Lucas one, I've used that one.
Yeah, so I've been using Lucas. We've been a Lucas shop for about 5 years. I've been pretty big in with those guys, and they've taken care of me. And they got a really good product, so it's hard not to. I mean, they make stuff for lose, and it's proven it's hard not to deal with them as good as they are to me. So we've been really grateful to have them aboard.
Cool.
But we go through the ultrasonic cleaning process, and clean off the reels and get them done like that and grease them up. And then when you get towards like on Facebook posts, and even like you said earlier, tuning a reel, there's a lot of different ways you can tune a reel. When we first started, I did a lot of polishing gears, polishing spool shafts, polishing pinion gear, stuff like that. And I kind
So
of
what is polishing?
polishing. I mean, it's no different than polishing aluminum. So basically, what you're doing is you're putting some compound on the end of a Dremel horsehair brush and just polishing up the gear to where it's shiny. The theory behind it is, and I do get some backlash from it because I don't really agree with the theory, but the theory behind it is you're taking a piece of brass and you're polishing it out and getting all the imperfections out, and it's making it smooth. Right? So it's supposed to smooth out the reel. Now, I'll still do that to the back of gears. Like when you pull a gear off, I wish I had one here, I'd show you, but like when it's brass and you pull it off, it'll be tarnished. And on the back side of it, there is like a primary and a secondary drag. So there's a drag that uses a spacer between it and the ratchet. Well, I like to polish that. So you got a smooth spot, or I'll take some sandpaper, or you got a gritty spot to where that'll stick to. But other than that, we've kind of stayed away from the polishing because I don't know that it does anything. So when you hear the form of somebody saying, I've tuned a reel, it's either they're polishing gears or they're putting shims in it. Like I put a lot of shims in reels to take all the play out of them.
Yeah, like I know with Daiwa stuff, they'll be like in the handles and stuff, it'll like
Right.
shake a little bit. I've heard of shims, but yeah. So
Huh.
it's just a little piece of metal, like a washer or something
Uh,
you put in there?
I might actually have one in my wad of stuff up here. It's literally, well, I thought I had one. There's a baby shim right there. You probably can't see it. This is for a worm gear. Oh, I gotta find my camera. See that little bitty shim on my finger?
Wow.
Yeah.
So it didn't take much, huh?
Nah, and like the ones on like in handles, they're a little bit bigger, but we're talking like millions to play with just to take that little bit of wiggle out. It doesn't take much, but from the factory, unless you're spending like the $300-400 range, they don't take the time to do it like 100, like that JDM quality you would expect from Shimano or something like that. You really don't get that until you're like in that $300 range.
Gotcha.
So I can take a reel and clean it up, tune it if you will, put shims in it, run a bigger set of run a faster set of hybrid ceramic bearings in it, make it a little bit freer, and ultimately you can take a $50 junk box and make it feel like a $300 reel.
Oh, I saw you had something where it was carbon something. Is that drag?
Yeah, so I offer like a couple. Here's a couple different examples of those. So like this is a Carbon Tex drag. Now this isn't my product. This is a company out of California called Smooth Drag, but essentially it's a woven carbon drag that you can replace your drag units with if they have felt in them or a poly material. Like for example, I do a ton of SLXs. Like for I don't know how the name. Like all my buddies call me the SLX King because it seems to be what I like to play with here lately. But the
I
big
mean,
thing,
it's a great budget reel that you can.
right?
I'm guessing you can upgrade pretty easy.
Oh, it's probably the best. I think it's the best lineup they've came out with in forever. I
Yeah.
don't know how the Corrado even competes with it sales wise. I don't really know if it does. I just think it's that good of a reel. But I can take a $30 set of bearings and take out some bushings and put some stainless bearings in it and a drag, and it feels just as good as anything else I've ever owned.
Wow. So is that what you own, SLXs?
Yeah, like so like this one. I gotta find this camera again. This is a 70 that I just did. Did you see it?
What MGL 70? Isn't that what it's?
Yeah, and this is SLX MGL 70. It doesn't have any blue on it. It's got a Gomexus drag star. It's got I updated the cap to silver. It's got an MGL tension knob. This has got that drag clicker that you like in it.
Oh yeah.
That's a upgrade for me. So this went coming down to kind of like the tuning aspect. This went from a felt drag to a clicker with two carbon drags in it and a set of ceramic. I mean this thing. I mean it'll fly. I got this XT right here. I got a video of it going on the website. It spins for 3 minutes. So the amount of stuff you can do to them is kind of just whatever you really want to do to it, however much you want to spend for the most part.
Like it. So how much would it normally, like the SLX, if you everything that you can do to it? How much is that?
So if we stay away, I'll put it like this. So the new A that just came out, I've done a ton of A's since they came out. I get a lot of them.
The what?
The SLXA, the brand new one
Oh, okay.
with the silent tune technology and the new black logo and everything that they got on it.
I hadn't even heard of that one. Huh.
Yeah, it's their new remake of the original SLX, but I've done probably 20 of them since they've came out or so. And what I've been doing to a lot of them, I'll take the bushing off of the drive shaft and I'll put a stainless bearing on it, and then I'll put a stainless bearing on the worm gear. I'll add a drag kit that's similar to this one. Oh. And a set of bearings like our house bearings here. And you're in it roughly $45-50 for upgrades.
So how much is that? Is it 100? $120 reel?
It's a $99 reel,
Oh, okay.
roughly. I think it's 120 is what their price is, but you can find it just about anywhere you want for 99 $100. That was their main. See, like these are the stainless bearings that replace the bushings. That's something big that Shimano started doing on a lot of their stuff, is putting bushings in there because it saves them. It saves the real weight, and then at the same time, it saves them money. The bushings aren't bad necessarily, but they're not as smooth as having a bearing in there.
Gotcha. So you can take a $99 reel, hook it up for $50, and then it's it's
And then
a
at that
high
point,
end at that point.
at that point, it's essentially just as good as its brake system. Like it's pretty much as good as you're going to get. Now it doesn't have, on the Shimano realm of things, it doesn't.
ECU.
It doesn't have the micro modular gears and all that crazy stuff, but it's about all I ever want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a great point that especially people who, I mean, not especially, but people who are trying to get in the game and want to buy cheaper reels, you can take those reels, have them cleaned and upgrade them, and then you've got a
Right.
great reel and not have to go, because fishing, for me, it's always trying to find, it's like saving costs where you can, because Lord, I mean, we have chosen the wrong sport to save any kind of money. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a gatherer's game. I found out over the years. Like I got a buddy that he actually went to the Classic with me just a couple weeks ago. We went to the art booth and bought him some rods, and I had a SLX and a 13 spinning rod, and I hooked him up. And he was like, "Man, it's so expensive." And I was like, "Dude, if you try to go buy everything you need in 1 year, you'll go broke. Like you just." And that's where I think the SLX comes in for a lot of people that want a more personalized custom feel reel. You can start off as a $90 reel. You can fish it for a year. I tell people straight up, like, unless you just want bearings, fish what you got for at least 6 months to a year. Then at the end of the season, send it to me. Let me clean it. We'll put a set of bearings in it, do some upgrades, or we can do it slowly. Like, you don't have to do it all at once. I mean, we're talking $10 here, $20 there. It doesn't have to just be a big bill. It can be something you play with over time or however you want to do it.
How many reels do people usually send you? Like, are they sending you like one or two at a time, or like in the off season, people are saying you like, here's 15 reels?
I've probably done 400 or 500 since December.
Wow. How long does it take?
About 30 minutes a reel if you do it right, give or take. I mean, it depends. Like, my policy used to be I don't want to do spinning reels because they're so time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like in the market, not a lot of people are doing spinning reels. So I'm having to pick up spinning reels. I'm not making a lot of money off of spinning reels, and I'm staying frustrated with spinning reels, but at the same time, it's kind of something I got to do. So I can clean a bait caster in, like I said, roughly 30 minutes, but it takes me about an hour to do a spin reel right now. If I want to do it, I'm so OCD, it's hard for me to, I just won't cut quarters. It's not going out of the shop unless I'm happy with it. I've done everything. I mean, I won't drop names, but I've done all kinds of pros. I've done regular guys, and I'm sending out the same quality. I don't care who you are. So for me, it's just hit or miss on how long usually.
Yeah. Are there upgrades you can do to a spinning reel too?
You can do the same carbon. So trying to find. I actually just did some Stratics, but they come stock with felt drags in them. That's where you see like the old school. You gotta put the grease on them and pack them in there. Well, you can run a set of Carbon Texas in there and run them dry. So a lot of guys do that. Ceramic wise, it doesn't do you a lot of good because it's not like where you're putting bearings on a spool and that line's coming off as fast as you can control that spool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a gravity deal where it's stripping the line off itself. It just is what it is. So when I do spinning reels, a lot more time is spent on cleaning the reel and soaking bearings and different contraptions, if you will, different formulas that I have to try to get them smooth or clean the gunk out of them. Because it's about the only upgrade you're going to do on them is maybe a higher end stainless or a drag. So I like to try to keep what I have and maybe do a drag upgrade if that makes any sense.
So you can take a cheaper spinning reel and put a better drag on it.
You can. I'm
I've
kind of
never opened up a spinning reel, so I don't even know what it looks like in there. I mean, I've taken off, you get line or whatever,
right.
I've taken off the cap, but
They're essentially just like a big worm gear, to be honest with you. But and spinning reels are like this. So if you buy a $25 one, or anywhere, we'll say anywhere up to $100, you might as well just fish it for 2 years and then sell it because it ain't worth messing with. Now, if you get into like Stratics, Tatulas, Van
Stella's, oh yeah,
Perlas, then you can actually, they're more cleaner friendly, if that makes any sense. Like it's
yeah,
easy for somebody like me to get in there and clean it. They're more accessible. It's just a lot better reel to work with. So that's that's like I said, forever wouldn't clean a reel unless it was a Stratic. I would clean a Stratic, but it's just kind of hit or miss on spinning reels. The quality, it's one of the areas where the quality really does go up a whole lot when you do spend money on
gotcha. So what's the difference between like your service and not to put down any other ones, but
it.
like whenever somebody is looking for somebody who clean reels or is in who does what you do, like what's the difference between like what are you doing that you would say why people would want to go to you rather than them? Like I guess a lot of people can clean a reel, but I mean, I think they know if they come to you, it's going. It sounds like
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there's
like you're going to do it right.
well, I mean, there's everybody knows somebody that cleans a reel.
My buddy Chuck, he did mine last year.
The big guys in the game like Michael Mello, Tackle Trap, Trey Harpole. I mean, those guys are badass. Just as good, if not better than I am. They've been doing it for a long time. I mean, my main thing for people is if you're going to get them clean, just take them to somebody who can do them. And if I can't do it, I'll send you to one of those guys. No problem. I won't ask no questions. I'll hook you up with whoever you want. That's the best. But where I come in, that's different than a lot of them. Is I'm the only person cleaning reels that is actually getting a bearing manufactured with a lifetime warranty, made with my own logo, my own back. So, I mean, there's other bearing companies that don't even clean reels that sell bearings, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. They
But
they just use somebody else's stuff.
so I'm more or less kind of like, the inside joke around my buddies was like I was the Carroll Shelby of the fishing world. I would go, I don't ever want to be big, but I can take whatever you want and make it fast. So I kind of go for the hometown feel. I manufacture some of my own stuff. I have some stuff made for me, but I take pride in my service. I'm always going to be honest. We're a God loving company and we're a family ran company. So I'm good enough with that. I don't care if I make 1,000 or 1,000,000. It doesn't matter to me. I just do it for fun.
They cool, man. What are there certain reels that people? I mean, I know you don't want. Let me see how I want to say this. I know you don't want to put down some brands or whatever, because then they'll be like, oh, I don't want to send that brand to him because he doesn't want to work on my Fluger or whatever it is. Is there some like
I wouldn't work on a fluker if you sent it to me. So don't send me. I'm just being dead honest. I wouldn't. Um,
like is it for parts and stuff? I guess that's a big one. Like some of them you might not even be able to get parts for, right?
All of them suck right now. I mean, it's really like Lose used to be, um, before they got bought out. They used to be the greatest company in the world to deal with. You had parts issues, you could call somebody and it'd be like boom, boom, boom. I get somebody on the phone that actually works on reels that knows what I'm talking about, not
Yeah,
somebody that's like, "Can I get a part number?
yeah.
What's that?" And then I'd have to explain it. But Luse's customer service used to be really awesome. It's been a while since I've had to call them, but it seemed like
Quantum owns them too. Like I used to fish Quantum. That's all I fished, and then they got bought out with them too, and it's same thing, man.
but the bigger Shimano does a great job. Daiwa does a great job, but they both have the same issue of It's everybody. It's just so hit or miss after COVID with parts. I lost my original bearing manufacturer that I had when I started this company. I lost them during COVID and had to go find a whole new manufacturer and redo plans and everything. So COVID was really rough on as far as the fishing industry, where regardless of what anybody's going to tell you, don't let them lie to you. It's all made overseas. So, it's the same issue is, can I find it and win? But my least favorite company to work on would probably be Abu Garcia, if I'm being honest. Other than their new stuff is awesome, but they're like the Revo Gen 1s and Gen 2s. Now, granted, those reels are pretty old now.
Yeah.
They're just, they always have some kind of issue. And then when you call them, they don't have a clue what's going on. They're lost. You're better off just getting on eBay and finding parts.
I had bought one, like it was a Revo, I think, and it was like not good. I said no, that's because I grew up with Abu, so I'm from saltwater from the coast, so like I grew up with throwing the big Abus and all that, so I have a special place in my heart for Abu, but I bought one a few years ago. It was like, wow, it was a waste of money, and I haven't bought another one since.
Their new stuff is top notch. The Xenons and their new stuff. I think they're really going to turn around the game with their new stuff. Granted, they're still not making their own reel like Luz or a lot of these companies, but at least I feel like they're trying to move forward instead of stuck in the same Revo rotation of just stuff that doesn't seem like it lasts like it used to.
Gotcha.
I've never understood essentially why, Blues and Abus were made in the same factory still are. I think Doyo makes both of them. But to me, it always seemed like the Luz side of that was always a better lasting product, especially when they were the Korean made Luz.
Yeah. Maybe Luz is made like on day shift with the good people, and then Abu at night.
Abu C shift, so they're like, we're worried about it. Just stamp it and send it.
So what are some of whenever you open up a reel, because I don't open up reels generally, like what are the differences, if you don't mind answering this, like what are the differences between a good reel and a bad reel? Besides, a couple of things you talked about, the shims and is there one you open up and it's like, oh man, that's just trash?
Not so. Essentially, they're all the same designs and concept. They all kind of have the same design, but not the same parts. Like I said, Luz and Abu, they're pretty much identical when you open them. You're paying for a good gear. They have good bearings. Once you get out of that $99 range, they start putting a little bit better stainless in them. You start seeing, more adjustments on the spool and adjustments on the outside for the magnets. And it's the same way with the Luz on that. But the Luz and the Abu are about as like the basic old faithful trusty setup that you can get. And then you get companies like Daiwa, who has like the mag brake system, and they manufacture their own stuff. They do aluminum gears. They got a lot better gears than what I feel like Luz and Abu make, and it's the same way with Shimano. But I feel like the two main big dogs is Luz and Shimano because they do their own manufacturing. Shimano was a gear company from the jump, so that already, they make micro modular gears and all kinds of stuff. So the two biggest difference you're going to see in those two platforms, other than how they look and how they're made, is the braking systems. It just kind of depends on what you want. You want to adjust it on the outside or the inside? Do you want to be able to micro adjust it or not? But I've always just told people, unless you're just got a high school kid on a budget, I'd stick to Shimano or Daiwa because you're just getting top of the line and they're easy to resell.
I think it's amazing that whenever you open up a reel, all the different parts. Like I open it up and it's like just a mystery. I don't know what all like if I have to take them apart and set them in the order, the couple times I have done it to know the order that they go back in. So you could take a reel, take all the stuff, all the guts out, and just like put it back together.
I I don't even look anymore. I mean, I look at the parts, but like I got so much muscle memory with it. Like the 3 days when I was at the Classic for 2 days, the 2 days I was at the Classic, I was sitting in the middle of the living room floor putting bearings in and messing with reels. Like it's just I've seen and touched so many of them, it's nothing. And I mean, I might like mind you not, there's guys that are better than me, if not just as good as me, that still do it too. So some of these older guys, I would say they're really fast. I could only imagine, but once you get over, just once you've done a couple hundred of them, there's nothing to it. It's kind of like working on a Toyota assembly line or something like that. Once you've touched it 50 times, it takes you 2 seconds.
I imagine whenever you were at the Classic and you're going by looking at the different reels and like you want to open them up, and were they cool with that? Like,
Oh, well,
like you really know what you're talking about, you
a
know?
lot of those folks know me anyway, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, most of the time, if I roll past Shimano or Daiwa and I want to look at a spool or whatever, I just pop it out. Or even at my local boat shows, I look at whatever. Like for instance, the most recent reel I looked at was the Art Gravity, the G7.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was at the Classic, and the art guy was like, "Man, you should buy one of these reels." And I'm sitting here thinking, "No, I probably won't," and not in a bad way, because I knew when I went to my local tackle shop, they were just going to give me one to go fish and take apart. So, like, I instantly had a reel to take apart, and sometimes it works like that, and that is an awesome. That's probably one of the best reels I've picked up in the last 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yep, I think it's amazing. I don't know who makes it, but I do know the quality is probably some of the best quality work I've seen out of a maybe second or third party shop in a long time.
So
Break,
it's
the
like
break,
up there with Shimano, like up in that.
yeah, the braking system's bar none. I mean,
It's
it's kind of,
different, right?
yeah, it's like it's got some micro adjustments on the outside, kind of like the SLX, but it looks like a dial up here. And then you spin the knob. Like one's BFS and like two's traditional, and like three's Win. It's like
Oh, wow.
so it's kind of like a dial spool. You know how the drum's on a spring, but you push it down and spin it, and it clicks into position. You don't have to flip down tabs or nothing. It breaks good. Comes with good bearings in it. It's a pretty sweet reel.
Hmm. Nothing against Arc. I bought like 3 of their rods, and I wasn't that big of a fan. But if the
Really,
reels are good, the reels are good. They do a veteran discount, and I really appreciate them for that. So I might buy one of their reels because of that.
the proof in any of the now there is some real brands that like rod brands that make reels per se that you see them
Yeah,
and you're like that's awful. Like
favorite, and yeah,
yeah.
well, I'll say it.
Well, I mean, they won't be around the next 5 years, so it don't matter. So, but
You
I'm just being honest. Look at where they went in the last two. Like, who's pushing their stuff? Scott Martin, and that's
Brian
about it.
Latimer, yeah, not many.
Yeah, I mean,
I had some Ardents too. Like years ago, I got some crazy deal on like 2 Ardent Apex. I think they were supposed to be like top of the line, and they might be the worst reels I've ever owned. They were. So I don't mean this to be like trash
right.
and reel brands. I just
Yeah, I mean, Arden makes a lot of their money off their pro staff. I feel like. I mean, they got the hugest pro staff in the industry, and when you sell, so that you, this is going to get into a whole different conversation.
is it like buying to be pro staff kind of deal?
Well, yeah,
Is that
like
what it is?
you're in the industry enough, like there's two different kinds of pro staff. You have guys, like for example, back in the day, I was on 5x3's pro staff. It was the hardest pro staff to ever get on.
Yeah.
Like you had to be recommended. They called you. Like I had 3 or 4 like conversations with groups before I was even brought in. Like it was a big,
Wow,
big deal.
that's
And
awesome.
well, they were legit too. Like when you went in, the guys put in work, and the product was there. But then you got pro staffs like Ardent, who they got 20,000 people, they get 20% off, and that's how they sell their reels. They're doing it just like Walmart does it, but to their own people, more or less. So, Ardent's reels aren't bad. I just don't think they're great, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I mean, like, what else? What else should I feels like I don't know a lot about this topic. What else should I be asking about him, I guess? Is there something I'm missing?
About reels?
Yeah, well, I mean about what you do.
Well, I mean, like I said, my big thing's my bearings, man. I offer an ABEC 9 hybrid
Okay.
ceramic bearing, which has a peak cage in it. Actually, I'll get one out here and I'll show it to you. It's got a peak cage in it, and essentially,
What is a peak cage?
it's a poly. Let me grab my trusty Ned head here to where I can pop this little
Oh,
shit off. It is it's a poly cage. So this bearing, the only kind of stainless it has on it is like the inner and outer race. Let's see if I can't get this in the camera. Got to figure out which side I need to be on. Can you see that?
yeah. Hmm.
The white going around that?
Yeah.
So that's a peak cage. That's a poly cage on that. Oh, that's what essentially the rating on a bearing is, how much RPMs it can take. That's what essentially keeps it cool. Is being able to run that lighter, I guess, thinner material. So, but that's my big thing is I'm offering an ABEC 9 hybrid ceramic bearing at a really cheap range that a lot of people don't. And like I said, it comes in a kit. And so I got any of my bearings when you get them. The big thing with bearings is shields or no shields.
Yeah.
It's been the controversy for 20 years. Well, mine are shielded on one side, and then on the other side, they're not. So, like, on this side of these bearings, they have no shield at all. Well, that one does because it's flipped upside down. But on this side, they do.
Gotcha.
But they come with an extra set of shields, so if you want to run both sides, you can. And the reason why I do that is because it's kind of a happy medium. I just put the shield down to wherever the gunk is going to go to, and that just kind of stops the debris. And then if they slow down, I just blow them out with some air and some rubbing alcohol, and they fire back up as fast as it was. But that's my deals. I got this little tin, and it's got the bearings, it's got the shield, it comes with a clip retainer, so if you lose it and it goes flying across the room, you don't have to order one. It's got a QR code on it. So like you click the QR code. And some of my famous YouTube work with my whole whopping 25 hits. I think I'm up in the hundreds. I don't know. I don't put it out there a lot, but if it'll load, it'll pull you right to my YouTube screen here.
Okay.
And it has step-by-step instructions on how to put bearings in for any reel you want.
So buy the bearings, go to YouTube, and you should be able to do it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the QR code set up, you'll scan the QR code. It has a homepage. It says Dominator Reel Tuning. It has my phone number. Anything you need's there. A lot of people, they're just like, here's you some bearings in a bag. Good luck, kid. So I try to cover all the bases. And then I also offer, I got this is the camera thing messes with me with the tablet.
Yeah, dude, I'll never get used to it.
So I got the 8-in-1 screwdriver. I offer these. These will be on the website when it launches here soon. It's got, essentially all the bits you could ever need to work on anything that needs a precision screwdriver. So I offer that, and a spool tool where you can push the pins out, and pretty much anything you're going to need to work on a reel is going to be on my site.
So you work on them, and then you sell the stuff so other people can do it too.
Well, eventually, I'd like to hire somebody to work on for me, so I don't have to.
At least the spinning reels, right?
I feel so bad when I want to go fishing on the weekend. There's 20 reels in here, and I'm like, do I do it? And I'm like, you know what? I've been in here since December. Yeah, I'm going to go do it. So I would like to find, eventually somebody to come work with me and do it for me, and I'd go sell full time. But one of these days, who knows?
That's right. I don't know. I had another question. I forget what it was. I don't know. Now I need to up some of my reels. I feel like I need something,
Well, especially kayak guys, man. You guys beat the crap out of your stuff.
Yeah. Like those 2 Zillions I bought, they're awesome reels, but the finish on them is like the old Shimano one, the super shiny, and I've already got a couple of dings on them. I'm so upset about it.
Yeah, honestly, that is my biggest complaint was Shimano. I love the reels, but like the finish just doesn't. And then like you get the JDM style rods with no hook keepers, and then you like go to latch them on the top, and then they scratch, and it's like, well, what am I,
Yeah.
But that's the only downfall. I mean, and I'm not. I mean, I got a big 300 Tattoos sitting here too. I mean, I throw Tattoos and Shimanos, and I'm sure there's an Abu in there somewhere, but I'm more partial to either, like I said, a Shimano or a Tattoo. But the finish seems to be a lot better on a Tattoo.
Yeah. All right, so we gotta talk before I let you go. We gotta talk about swim baits too, man. Dude? I'm looking at these like the Spro Chad Chads, and I'm trying to get into it. Like I think recently I've been throwing bigger topwaters and wake baits. I'm like, I think I'm into this. Like I need to. It's kind of hard to do from a kayak because you only have the leverage of being up high. But I thought I might start buying a couple of these swim baits.
That's what you need right there.
What is it?
That's the Tactical Shad. Have you threw it yet?
No, no.
That's a pretty cool bait for the money. But honestly, the Chad Shad Spro, I mean the Chad Shad original. Anything PGP makes great. The Spro Chad say that like 10 times fast. That's so. Anyways, the Shad is going to be a great when you can find it. For me, as far as my go-to.
See, you got the Reckless sticker there.
Oh yeah, I actually got one of the autism rats from Reckless.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, just got it on last drop, and I just got this is a little wake for him, a little bluegill wake. I threw it a little bit this weekend. I throw some bull shads. My two biggest things that I like to do.
I like that they have their own case inside the case.
Oh man, when they're like $140.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't own any. I don't know.
That's the thing. There's no way to store it. Like, if anybody could make a great way to like store them that wasn't a 2x2 size box, this is probably my favorite bait.
What is that? A Reckless one?
No, this is I can go grab the Reckless one if you want to see it.
Yeah.
This is a bull shad.
Oh, is it? Okay.
This is a bull. I'll grab the Reckless one real quick. It's just sitting over here. It's pretty big for what it is. Now, I probably won't fish this one, but I got another one that I'm going to fish. So this is the G-Rat. It's a lot, or not the G-Rat, the Reckless. I mean, it's a lot bigger than the bull shad, but this bull shad one's been chewed. That's a good, anybody that wants to get into it, especially like when it's really hot or early spring, the rat's a great way to go because it's addicting watching blow-ups. The G-Rat, this bait right here, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
It's see how close I can get to this camera. It's pretty.
Wow.
That's what a 25-pound day looks like. That was brand new bait out of the package. I lost the tail and everything on it because I didn't super glue it. But for the money, $35. They come with sharp hooks. If somebody wanted to get into glide bait fishing, this is this or the Arashi, Storm Arashi.
Which one is that one?
This one is the G-Rat. Papa.
No. Yeah,
This is a Stealthy Pete.
I looked today. They were all sold out on Tackle Warehouse, every single one.
This is the 8-inch one. This thing swims. It'll snap. It'll almost do a 360 when you snap it. Like when I worked this bait this weekend, I literally and then I pause it, and then like you'd see them chase it, and then you just snap it real quick, and it's stupid. It's for the money. If somebody wanted to get into it, that's what I would do. I'd spend a solid year throwing just baits that you can find easily, because it's really disheartening. You go out there, you pay $170 for a bull glide and lose it, or a bull glide, a trick shad, or whatever they're calling the new one, or a KGB. But I lose a $35 bait. I mean, I'm going to be kind of disheartened, but I'm not nothing like that. Like if I lost that rat, I probably would cry, to be honest with you.
How much was that one?
That one was like $170.
Yeah.
Somewhere
They,
at 160, 170, I was painted. Well, it glows in the dark. I didn't notice that till like last week, but you can kind of see its tail glowing because I'm in a not so bright room, but it glows in the dark. I don't know what good that does me because I fish during the daytime, but it was custom painted by Jackal. And
so is that what you do with all your money from your side
no,
business here?
no, see, this is gonna tell on me now because my wife's gonna watch this. She's gonna
Well,
like,
I'm that's what I'm thinking. Like, if I can't, obviously, I am not made to do reels. Maybe I need a side hustle so I could have buy all these awesome baits.
this is I've been throwing.
The podcast is not doing it for me. Like, if I want to make some money, I'm gonna have to go a different route.
I've been. This is a collection. Besides the two recklesses, they just came from a drop 2 weeks ago, and those were like straight up, like how like back in the young days, like when you were 21, just started drinking, and then you're like, I gotta go to Waffle House, and the next morning you're like, Waffle House was a bad decision. Well, that was like a compulsive buy decision. I don't regret it, but I did it, so I ended up with them. But as
You
far
could
as like,
probably still sell them and make money, though, right?
I don't know.
At
That
least probably get your money back.
you can.
Yeah,
Like the autism rat it's going to be a collector's, I would say. I mean, it's pretty sweet.
it looks good. Yeah.
You got puzzle pieces in the tail and all that, but
Wow.
that's literally the only swim bait that I have that I didn't buy that I didn't think I was going to fish. So like if it's not a bluegill or a shad pattern, or honestly, I thought the rat was cool and it just happens to be a fish layer. So I mean, I have to replace the tail on it about every 2 months, but I just try not to buy nothing I'm not going to fish because then I do feel bad if it's sitting there and I
Yeah.
spend that much money and I don't use it. But
I see it with the glide baits. How do you know? Like, I know it sounds like a dumb question, but when do you throw a bluegill over a shad pattern? I couldn't figure. Whenever I was looking at them, I couldn't figure that out. Like, it,
so
they're doing the same thing. I mean,
yeah.
just yeah, I wouldn't know how to make that choice.
Okay, so like for me, without giving too many of my local
Oh
secrets,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for me, like this time right now, if you hit Cedar Creek Lake, which is where I was the other day, which I don't care, this is coming out, whatever. They can figure it out when they figure it out. They're fixing to go on beds. The little ones have already went on beds. The males are moving up. They're fanning. Well, the big mama sons are sitting outside in the grass. And I was sitting out there, and I threw the reckless. And I turned around, and I was like, man, it's just something was like, man, you need to throw that glide. And I was like, all right. I threw that glide. I maybe threw it right down the grass line, and I stroked a 6. And she came up in the boat, and there's a big old gizzard hanging out of her mouth.
Mm,
So to me, that tells me,
yeah.
spring this time of year, they're feeding on shad. So when the spring and fall, I try to throw a little bit of shad. Summer, when it's blazing hot, I throw bluegill.
Bluegill buds. Yeah.
And still, I don't think you could go wrong with shad. I think, the guy that was fishing with me this past weekend was kind of the guy that taught me how to fish. He's from Cali. He's been throwing swim baits for 20, 30 years. And he told me for him, it was wake baits in the morning, in the afternoon, and glides are a traditional swim bait during the day. And then, you're kind of just matching the hacks. But it's like, whether you're talking like a 4x4 or a wake bait or a rat, or it's kind of a lot like a top water crankbait, jerk bait, like this being a jerk bait, this being a top water. Uh, one of these bull shads being a crankbait, although you are having to burn it across the top of grass or whatever, they all kind of have like their own little purpose. And just because you throw them all day, don't mean you're going to catch one, but you'll have, well, like some weekend I had, just a freak weekend, man. When you have them, it's addicting.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's been my thing. I've been worried about getting into them because, like, I would spend all my time doing that, and then yeah.
my two worst addictions, and like I said, a lot of these swim baits, they've been accumulated over the last 10 years or whatever. But my two worst addictions in the last 2 years have been poison adrenas and swim baits.
Oh man.
I've been pretty bad. But
How much
yeah,
are them rods? $500?
about 4, somewhere in
Oh,
there.
well, you know,
I mean, they're not.
$400. Yeah, I hear you. Dude,
They're
I just bought
by
2 new.
NRXs, you know.
Yeah.
They're stupid. I'll be honest with you. I went from throwing. There's a company called. You're in Alabama. You ever heard of Tiger Rods?
No, no.
So there's a company called a guy named Scott. He runs a camera boat for bass now. He sold the company I think a couple of years ago. When I was fishing BFLs and stuff back in the day, he sponsored me and I ran his custom rods. And I ran these rods for 7 years. And then when I got into the real business, I kind of more or less I went from that to fishing some Denali's because I knew Michael Neal and all those guys, and they're like,
Yeah.
man, these are rods, and they were great rods. And then I got into the Shimano realm, and I bought one, then I bought another, and then I'd sneak and buy another. But a lot of my stuff isn't new. I'd look for Facebook Marketplace and go buy a used one here and there, and try not to break the bank. I got a couple new ones, but unlike these guys that are buying these NRXs, I don't know if I could afford that.
Yeah.
But they're worth it. I mean, I'm not going to say they're not. If it's a 20, it's a big difference between an NRX and an IM6 blank. You know what I mean? Like these cheaper, like a Ducket or something like that. You might get 5 years out of it, but there's guys that are still fishing GL2s from like 99.
I literally just sold 2 GL2s.
I'm still fishing All Stars. I don't know what they are, but
Yeah, the old ones were good though. The new ones, the new Academy ones are awful. But as long as it wasn't like the old All Star with the pistol grip. Although I just saw like some Shimano. I'm pretty sure it was Shimano. They have a new pistol grip, except it's for like it's like more like a I don't know. It's more like almost brass knuckles. It doesn't go over it, but it's actually got divots for each finger, like cutouts for each finger where you hold on to it into the handle.
Now Cashin didn't they do like a kayak series that was kind of like a pistol grip that was pretty sweet rod from like I was told like that was a badass little target casting rod whenever they came out with it.
Oh, I haven't. I haven't. I mean, I haven't. I do have a couple of Cashins I bought recently, but they were just the icons. I've never used the
I don't know.
kayak ones.
I would almost rock pistol grips if I could find them.
It hurts your wrist, man. Doing it all day, it wears you out.
That's
I
like
mean, if like a popper or something like that, I can see it.
I bet you Matt Robertson will bring that back one of these days.
Yeah,
I could see him doing that. I could see him doing it.
Yeah, I could too.
But yeah, I mean, it's all just a addiction, more or less. Just like everybody else suffers from it.
Yeah, it keeps me out of the bars. So
I'm sure. But my recommendation is those G-Rack glide baits. If you just want to get into it and have fun, and the hooks are super sticky, they work. A good rat from Reckless or Bull Shad. And I mean, a rat in the summer is about as fun, especially if you like throwing frogs or something.
Yeah.
Or if you got a lake like what I got that's got a lot of timber and grass, and you can just throw them down them paths and they just destroy it. It's a blast.
The rat?
Yeah. Wife's, my kid, or not kids, buddy's kids, but they can all throw it. It's not a big learner's curve. It's like giving somebody a Cinco. Anybody can do it. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've never caught one on a rat. I'm gonna have to do it. I'm not looking forward to spending that money, but all right.
You don't gotta buy an expensive one. You could buy like a
Pro rat, I guess.
I would buy a Spro. I don't know. Fish Lab's got BBZ is now Fish Lab instead of Spro. I don't know how I feel about the propeller feet. I really like the the jointed walking style rat, but you could pick you up well, I mean, okay, this rat without custom paint, $60, and white, brown, or cotton candy.
Oh, from Reckless?
No, this is a bull. This is a bull rat.
Yeah,
Reckless rats are like 130. They're still not that bad.
Well, it's still bull rat. That's not bad.
No, this thing catches. I mean, look at the tail on that thing.
Yeah,
It catches all kinds of fish, but any of them are going to work great. You just got to get out there and throw it. Now, I tell most people if it's something you're going to get into, just take you a good, like your glide bait rod. You don't need a big, crazy $400 rod and reel setup, like big 300. You just need like a good Corrado 200, a good 7'4" with a tip. Because, it's a treble bait. It's a treble bait, right? You don't need a whole lot of action in there. You don't need to be stiff. It's got to be parabolic and bend or they'll rip it off. Trust me, I've learned that lesson. But just get you a decent little setup there, and then maybe like a guide select with a 300 or something along the lines of that, to where you're not spending a lot of money, to where you can throw a bigger something outside of 3 ounces, more or less, and then just put those in the boat. Just take those 2 and go. I never got fully cut. Like I would take jigs and A-rigs and all that good stuff, and I would never commit to the swim bait all day because I knew I could catch them on a jig.
Yeah.
So when I started just putting them in the boat, and that would be the only thing I'd go with, I started catching fish, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm waiting. Last question. Is there a line? How are you choosing your line?
Mono.
Oh, mono. Okay.
So,
well, I didn't know if you have a parabolic bend rod, is that giving you enough stretch or enough?
Yeah. So I run, and I'll tell you, this is why I choose my line. You remember when everybody was big on like the HUDs thing in like 2010? Like it was big before that, but then it started kind of making its way to these customers. Like, gotta buy a HUD, gotta buy a Savage Gear for my local whatever. And I'd get out, my local lake, and I'd had braid tied on, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be legit." And I'd throw it, and it'd go, pew, and it was gone. And then I finally slowly figured out fluorocarbon did the same thing. Copolymer works great if you want to spend the money on copolymer, but I throw 20-pound mono, big game green on glides, and 25 on rats or anything bigger like that big crazy tactical weight. And the reason being is it's $10 a spool, and I'll fish it for 2 days, and I'll strip it off and throw it away and line it back up. Copolymer, it's so expensive, it's hard for me to do that. And I think when I throw something that potentially can cost that much money, I want new line on it all the time.
Yeah.
Big games never fail.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that,
And then they don't snap off. Don't get the crazy bird's nest. I mean, it's, essentially that's why you want a big, you're not going to throw 300 yards of line out of a Tattoo 300 or whatever you're using, right? But the reason why you have that big reel is so you can hold that big line. So you can put all kinds of 25-pound big game on there, and I still can't even. I got bearings on this thing. I mean, it still spins like a rocket ship, and I can't even throw all the line off of it. So that's my advice: is just go with some mono and some baits that are easy to buy. Don't look for anything until you get comfortable that you can find on a drop, because you lose it, you can't replace it. Like that G-Rack. That was something else, and I lost the tail off of it. It wasn't just a $30 bait that I could just go and replace at my local tackle shop. What would I be doing next weekend? So,
can you buy the tails? Or do you have to?
I can buy the tails, but if that was a $140 bait and I lose it, if I was new, how are you going to replace that? But if you're new and you lose a $30 bait, it's a lot easier to replace.
Yeah, that's right.
I think once you do it for 2 or 3 years, or even a year, you throw it solid for a year, you're comfortable with it. Once you get comfortable with it, just kind of like an A-rig. Everybody that threw A-rigs for forever would lose them around me because of rocks and everything. And then once you got used to swinging on the other side of the rocks and pulling them off and using your head a little bit, you don't have the issues.
Cool. Well, man, where can people find your company online?
As of right now, we're under construction. So
Facebook.
www.dominatorreeltuning.com will hopefully be launched in about a month. Until then, I am hands-on on Facebook. You won't get anybody else but me, and my number's out there. I got a great system set up. You don't have to deal with PayPal or nothing like that. I just send you an invoice directly to you, and you click it, pay it however you want, and I ship it, and it'll be on your front door in a couple of days.
Cool. Well, man, I appreciate you being on. Good luck. Congrats on the big bag this weekend. That'd be awesome to catch. They've been biting. So, everybody, I appreciate you listening. As always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all again next week. Take it easy.